We are very happy to have a registered psychologist as our speaker tonight. She will be giving us the best tips in asking for help if you think you are suffering from depression, or if you have a friend who is constantly talking about suicide. And our next speaker is a freelance psychologist, and she's also a part-time psychology instructor at USP. Woo! Alright, and she used to work at Pink Center in Vicente Soto. She has a master's degree in social psychology at USJR, and her interests are violence against women and children. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Ms. Rose Gonato.
Good evening. I would like to acknowledge my former students from USJR, my present students from USPF, and students from CDU and USC. Good evening. I'm Rose Gonato. I was connected with the Pink Center before. The Pink Center caters to abused women and children, and we see a lot of depressed and anxious and traumatized women and children. It is one of my advocacy to help and to reach out to these people because, in my practice, almost every week, I get a lot of messages from individuals asking for help, and it's a good sign. Sadly, we are only a few here in Cebu, and also there's an issue about peace, so that makes it less accessible to the people, especially to students. However, I know a lot of groups who are, planning to form suicide prevention and depression awareness. Okay, so how do we help someone who is depressed, who is in the brink of depression? When you are depressed, sometimes you don't have the energy to ask for help. It's that hopeless. When you're depressed, man, good hopeless kind of feeling, you feel so powerless, and at times you would always like to be in that black hole forever because you think there's no way out. It takes someone so sensitive to be able to care and help someone in need. So how do we encourage this? First and foremost, we have to let people be aware what is depression and what is suicide. So there should be an education, because before, depression is saying we're taboo. People do not talk about depression because we feel that those who are depressed is just like Cheryl said ganina, nag-inartera or nag-imuay. So most of the time they would be stigmatized, so they won't ask for help. And then these people also, when we educate people in schools, especially the teens, they would be not afraid to come out. They would be very encouraged to come out because they know that they or naay help. And then families, parents also are or should be educated about depression. These are not only a part of teenage years that people go through or adolescents go through. This is real. Even 70 years old, 80-year-olds can get depressed. They can commit suicide. I think you've heard or read in the newspaper before or in the past weeks, an 85-year-old woman committed suicide. The reason was wala na siya gitagad, but it's more than that. So we see suicide and depression in Facebook, in Instagram, in social media, in the newspapers. So why are we getting this? Ganong daghan man kayong why do we talk about this? This is much talk about now than before. It's because of the awareness and the education also. But we need to do more. We need to do more. So after education, these people who are depressed, who are extremely sad, then they will already know what to do. So the first step, if you're depressed, is to acknowledge what you're feeling. That it's not only an ordinary sadness that will go away. That this depression will always come back, naalay mga triggers, but the good news is you can get help. So, you have to acknowledge first, you have to educate yourself if given na if this person still has the energy to seek for help. So, educate yourself. Di ba, Miss Cheryl already mentioned the 9 symptoms of depression. So, you can have all of that or some of that symptoms of whatever it is still depression. So, first step is acknowledging awareness and where to go. I'm glad that the people who come to me have searched in the internet, therapists, mental health practitioners that you can go to for help. So, acknowledging your problem and seeking help is actually a good sign for treatment, or actually, dili man yun na siya totally cure, but the symptoms can be managed so that you can go back to society, you can integrate, you can be functioning already. Okay, so if you are someone who is a loved one of this person who has depression, be aware of the symptoms. And then if you are aware already that this person expressed suicide, aggressions, or maybe is not going to school anymore, is not eating, or maybe this person is harming herself or himself, then that's those are the reasons that you should ask someone for help. So how do you approach someone who is depressed to get for help? Number one, you calmly and sensitively express your concern over that person. You tell that person that you are very concerned that she or he is not eating anymore, is not sleeping well, is not going to school. Express your concern and then listen to that person. Most of the time, depressed people only want someone na they can talk to. And someone who understands them, because most of the time when people talk to us about their depressed or problems, we underestimate them, or we stigmatize them, or we just underestimate the problem that maybe it's just, kuha na siya, mawala rin na, maybe kuha na siya part of your premenstrual problem, or maybe if that person is pregnant, maybe it's just perinatal depression, or maybe after giving birth, it's just the baby blues. But no, when it goes beyond that, it's really a problem. So, as someone who is a loved one or a friend, isa ka person na depressed, you have to be very sensitive in what they're going through. Remember that at first, they will be very hesitant to ask for help. Number one concern would be where to go, the peace, the courage to talk to someone about the problem. So you have to be very sensitive and very patient with these people, because most of the time, mura man guna siya roller coaster. At this time, they're okay, they're functioning. The next time, they will sink into that black hole. Most depressed people would always describe the feeling as being in a black hole. The deep kaayo, the dark. Even when they're struggling to come out, it's very difficult. So, you have to encourage them to seek help, and it's not easy. So, you have to be very patient. Do not force them to go, because it will not be good. You have to be very patient. You have to present alternatives, and most of the time, all they want to do is just to talk to someone and be there for that person. So when the person is ready, you can already refer that person to a mental health practitioner. You can just Google naanay mo appear, psychotherapist in Cebu or psychiatrist in Cebu. Now, we have this stigma man good now. When we go to a psychiatrist or psychologist, nabuang na they're crazy. And we have to end that stigma, because most of our clients are not really those who are psychologically crazy or mentally na mga problems. They're people who has emotional problems. The number one reason why people go to psychiatrists or mental health professionals are number one, depression, and number two, anxiety. So depression and anxiety usually co-occur. When you're depressed, there is also a time when you get so anxious or you're pushed over the edge. So You can just ask, and then I don't know if Hope Hotline is still working. You can also Google Hope Hotline in Cebu, night hotline that you can call. But I don't know if it's working because the last time I heard they are still reorganizing. Now, what is your role in that person's life, in that depressed person's life? So aside from, being someone who listens to that person, you can be someone who can accompany that person when they go to a mental health professional. Sometimes dili na nila kaya when they go alone. So they need someone to be with them. And most importantly, if you see signs of suicide attempts, like maybe nakita niyo na yung mga cut marks on the wrist or in any parts of the body, if the person usually covers their wrist or diri, kanang mga bagake bracelets, most of the time that person is harming themselves. So if you see a cut mark, yeah, you know that person is depressed, you just calmly ask, what is that? Do not dili ka mag-assume na, oh, that's already, you're cutting yourself already, you're harming yourself already. So you gently ask na, what is that? Naunsa na siya? And then you patiently, maybe they will not, at first, they will not even tell you that they're cutting themselves. So you have to be very patient with these people. And you have to assure them that there is help. That whatever they're feeling, if they seek help, that they will be in time, that feeling will be managed. Okay, so a lot of depressed people will tell you na dili magkakasabot sa akong na-feel. So you can just reply na, I don't know exactly how you feel. Maybe I do not understand how you feel right now, but I am here to help. Because kanang mga depressed, usually they will think that walay nakasabot nila, or nobody understands them, nobody understands their sadness. So with that, we have to, you don't really have to, like, maybe kanang daghan kita buhaton or kanang mapanik ka. Remember, also when you are someone who is a loved one or a depressed person, it can be very toxic on your side. Let's say you have a sister na depressed, you as a sibling also gets emotionally drained just taking care of that person. So also take care of yourself. So we have to take care of each other, and we have to be there for everyone, and let us not judge people because they're also fighting their battles as well as us. Okay. So again, there is a Hope hotline, and there are therapists in Cebu that you can seek help. If not, if you're in school, you can go to your guidance counselor. Not really, I mean, they can do counseling, but they can also, if di nila makaya ang case, they can always refer to other people. If you do not have the courage to go to a mental health professional, you can approach maybe your teacher, a close friend, or your counselor in school. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Rose. All right, thank you so much, Miss Rose. Whew. So before we proceed to the next part of our program, so it's very important that we ask for help. And I think Manggod also want to know that Filipinos are always portrayed na happy, happiest people on earth. It's well and good, but sometimes, Manggod, it also, the effect is that most people do not ask for help because they will say, oh, happier bitaw ko. But I think it's very important. We should not be ashamed to ask for help, especially for professional psychologists' help.